All right, I'm glad to be back. It's nice to see all of your shining faces. And Miriam, thanks for being here in the office. So today, because of the season and because of some things we're doing, I wanted to talk about, especially holiday, but doesn't have to be limited to that, touches for your SOI and for your past clients. And because I know we do stuff as a team, and I know that some people also do some things individually. So I like to discuss those for the benefit of new folks or folks that haven't had the opportunity to do it yet. And also just to brainstorm a little bit, to think about different things that we can or should be doing to reach out to make connections with people who can help us, achieve our goals and get where we want to be. So with that being said, I've started kind of a little bit of a list here to kind of brainstorm with, and then we'll see kind of where we go between there. So let me share the screen so you guys can see this. And we'll get started. Let's see. So all right, so can everybody see my little list here? My little Word doc that I've started to put together. I'll do it SOI and Past. Okay, so, I was trying to read a little bit about this. Hey, Christian, good morning. I was trying to read a little bit about this and just kind of remembering why we do this, right? You work really hard to help these folks make this really big decision, right? And you've built this great relationship in most cases with them, and you certainly don't want that to end at closing. And this is such a huge and important part of this business. And it's one thing that will take on a life of its own, the longer you're in the business, because why? You're going to have how many dozens and dozens and eventually hundreds of closed clients, right? And understanding why and what kind of opportunity that is to have all those closed clients is a great way to continue to add to your business pipeline, right? So how are you going to maintain these relationships going forward? And I pulled some really interesting stats from the NAR and thought that I would share these with you guys just to give you an idea of why it's so important. And the first one really blows my mind here, just completely blows my mind.
Is there any way to make that bigger?
To why some people don't have the best impression of what we do in our business. According to NAR, 91% of realtors never contact their buyer or seller of a home after closing. Right. I agree with Nate's reaction. He looked like a bobblehead. He kind of did like that. I mean, it just blows your mind. How could you not do that? And so even though that's not directly related to what we're going to talk about here today, for example, that's why we have our closed client drip in Boomtown to prompt us, even though most of us won't need it, but just prompt us to remind us, right, to reach out because, hey, it's been a quarter since our client closed. Hey, it's been 6 months. Hey, we're coming up on a year. That's why I've told you guys I love to do the social media posts. And for some folks, almost for every folks, I will screenshot that post every year and send it to them. And some of my clients I talk to a lot, some not as much, just because we have different relationships with all our clients, right? But just as a way, and sometimes it's fun because they've got their little kid in their picture the first time, and now it's 6 years later and their kid's grown up, and it's just, things like that, I think really mean a lot to people. So that's just one thing. And I mean, 91%, can you imagine that? I know nobody here is doing that, but just as a reminder of what you're up against in some cases and really how little you have to do to stand out. But that doesn't mean you should do very little. It says only 25% of home sellers use an agent that they previously worked with. So 3 out of 4 agents aren't using the agent that helped them buy the house if they use an agent to help them sell their house. So think about if you've closed 100 career buyers, right? And 75 of them used somebody else to sell their house when it was time to sell their house. How would you feel about that? And why are they deciding to do or to not do that, right? Are we maintaining the relationship so you're the first person that they think of when, you know, dad gets a new job, or, you know, mom wants to relocate to be closer to her family, or vice versa, or any of those things, or they're ready to downsize because now all the kids have gone to school or whatever, right? Are you the first person they think of? And that also means, are you staying visible in front of them, right? It says 88% of buyers recently purchased their home through an agent. So we said only 25% of sellers are using the last agent that they used, but we know most of those folks did use an agent, 88% of folks. And I've seen stats that are higher than that too. So even on the low end, you know, 8 out of 10 people, 9 out of 10 people are using an agent to buy a house. That's another reason to think, you know, there are some agents I've seen, and I'm not talking about anyone specifically, but I know you've all come across it because you've been hanging out for a while. You know, agents are like, I'm not going to waste my time with a buyer whose budget's $150,000. It's not worth my time, right? Well, let me show you what it is, why it is worth your time. Because 88% of people are using an agent, and a lot of people will use an agent again. It's just whether or not they're going to use you. So you're working even after you've helped them accomplish their goal, right? Because
You never know who they might
help
send
them
to you.
accomplish another goal later down the line. This whole idea of I'm your agent for life starts with helping them the first time, right? You have to help them once, but you have to continue to maintain the relationship after that. And I want some of you guys to speak on this a little bit later. I'm just trying to lay the foundation for the conversation. 42% of buyers used an agent that was referred to them by a friend, a neighbor, or a relative. So almost half of people are connecting with the agent that they use from someone that they know. And that's all about the agent's SOI, right? Or their past clients, right? 85% of home sellers would recommend their agent for future services. They'd recommend them, doesn't mean they necessarily work with them, but they'd recommend them. So they had a good experience, but maybe the agent fell out of touch with them. They didn't follow up. They didn't stay front of mind. They weren't visible. 88% of buyers said the same thing. They'd use their agent again. 33% of sellers recommended their agent 3 or more times since selling their home. Now think what that looks like. 3 or more times since selling their home. So if any client recommends you 3 times, say 1 in 3 clients, say 1 in 5 clients recommends you 3 times, think of what that math looks like. Because then you're effectively building a family tree of clients. And these are not team leads. These are not leads that you have to call who you've never talked to, that you're only calling because they registered on your site. These are leads that are probably either calling you directly, or somebody is hand delivering you their information, and they've said, you need to talk to Tom because I told him how great you were, and they're moving into town, and I said they absolutely have to work with you. You're the best person. Right? So just think about what all that means. So now let's talk a little bit about how to be successful in maintaining these relationships. And I think this is a good decision or discussion to have now because it's the holidays. And the holidays is definitely like a fish in the bucket time to do this, because everybody and their mom is probably doing some sort of outreach. That also speaks to why this isn't the only time of year that you should be doing it, because your message could get lost in the sauce this time of year. So talking about, but it's why we should also think about other times to do it throughout the year too. So share that with Christian just so he can see it, since he's not on the screen, and then I'll get you guys one once we update it. So, I was thinking about what does it really come down to with making these outreaches successful. And I think it really comes down to ideas, planning for it, consistency, and then execution, right? So what's the idea? Who's going to do it? What is it about? When are we going to do it? Planning. Okay, what are the details? When does it need to get out? What does it involve? Who does it involve? Consistency, because consistency is key in any marketing, and to a degree, this is marketing. You want people to begin to get used to expecting things from you throughout the year, right? So if you're going to be doing these touches, doing them and doing them consistently. And then, of course, execution, because nothing really matters until you execute it, right? So thinking about that. So I was thinking of a couple of different ways that we go about this on our team. First, we have team events, right, that the team sponsors. And then there are things that agents are doing individually. And then there are opportunities throughout the year that you want to maybe focus on and start to build that consistency with doing these touches, right? So just very easily from a team standpoint, as we've got coming up early at the beginning of December, we've got Santa. We've done Santa for a couple years now. I think this will be our third or fourth year at the Coast office that we've done it. It'll be our second year at the Triangle. And I think it's been received great in both places. And I think we'll continue to attract more people as people get used to seeing us do it, right? And they're all right. Hey, Oceanair is going to have Santa again this year. We're going to bring our kids and it's going to be fun. There's going to be cookies and milk and Santa's going to tell stories, and we don't have to go to the mall and stand in line to be charged $30 for a picture. We get to come and take it with our own camera, and we can take as many cameras or as many pictures as we want. And it's free and it's fun and it's low stress, and I don't have to go park at the mall or whatever, right? Some things that individual agents have done, and this is where I want to hopefully get some more discussion coming in, as for individual drop-offs, a lot of folks have talked about just keeping supplies in their cars for when you know you're in a part of town where you've helped a client, right? This way you're not specifically set out to drive around for a whole week to hit all your closed clients, but just when you're out showing homes or you're out putting up signs, you know, you've got just a little thank you bag or just a little drop-off bag that says, hey, was just thinking of you, I left something on your porch. Make sure you check it out. You don't have to necessarily stop and ring the doorbell and go in and have a conversation and pet the dog, because we all know how pop buys are. Pop buys and drop-offs are a little bit different thing. Pop buys, you might want to plan for those a little bit more, but drop-offs can be something simple. Somebody on the team was talking about how, you know, you can get those little paper popcorn buckets like you get in the theater or used to get in the theater. Grab one of those, stick a thing of Orville Redenbacher's in it, right? Stick a thing of Junior Mints in it. You know, Junior Mints are the best candy for the movies. So that's definitely a Seinfeld reference. And, you know, stick something else in there. You could stick like a Regal $5 gift card or something if you wanted to go that far, and say, hey, have movie night on me. You know, you guys order, or, you know, whatever, Netflix gift card, something like that. Just something little, and put 20 of them together, put them in the trunk of your car, and then they're just there when you're bouncing around town, right? So we're talking about things to bring people to the office where we are centrally located, have people come by and see us, but then we're also talking about, you know, you guys going out and making the touches on your own. So I've talked a lot, and I started to make a list of opportunities throughout the year. So Thanksgiving and Christmas are obvious. You know, we've also done pie night before. We would say, hey, you know, come by and pick up your pie. We ask people to RSVP. Just like for Santa, we ask people to RSVP. So Thanksgiving and Christmas are big ones for like getting people to the office. I've also done pie drop-offs before. That's a lot. That takes a lot more energy. Valentine's Day is a cool drop-off thing. You know, put together some candy and say, I love that you trusted me to help you buy your home, and, you know, put some cute little hearts and stuff together, you know, or just buy the heart-shaped chocolate thing and drop off. St. Patrick's Day is a really fun one. Buy a $1 lotto ticket and just mail it to people or something like that, or drop it off and say, wishing you luck, you know, as we're heading into the end of the school year or something like that. Anything, just be creative. So with all that said, you guys tell me about some things you've done or that you have thought about doing to incorporate.
The last 2 years, and I'm not doing it
Not
this year.
everybody at once. Come on, folks, wake up.
Can you hear me?
Can you not hear Janine? Doug, can you not hear us?
Can you hear anybody?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear anybody on the screen. Go ahead.
Charles had a really good idea of getting like chocolate covered pretzels or nuts and putting it in a box. Yeah.
He did that last year. It was a great idea. So for everyone's benefit that's online, Brandon, you're muted on my end. He just bulk ordered a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of chocolate covered peanuts.
Yeah.
And then he bulk ordered a bunch of containers to put it in there. And then he just did drop-offs. He went by, left it on people's porch with a little note card, you know, thanks for your business, all that.
Can you hear us? Is your volume down?
Let me check my settings real quick because they say that they're talking. No, my volume's turned all the way up. So I'm not sure why it's not working. It's weird. Let me just check my settings. Yeah, not sure. I can
What
see
about
Brandon's
now?
unmuted. I can see Janine's unmuted. But my volume on my computer's all the way up. So if you've got something to add, just put it in the text group and I'll share it with everybody. We were talking about what Charles has done. Hopefully you guys can hear us online about that. There are a lot of places online where you can like bulk order candy, stuff like that. And you can also get kind of like really lazy with it too. You can just, if you're willing to pay for it, of course, you can like send them the addresses and they'll ship it. You send them names and addresses and they'll just ship it directly to the people for you. So that's a good one. Drop offs. I'm going to add that. Candy. Brandon says bulk order Starbucks gift cards directly from Starbucks, and I guess they'll ship it to you or you ship it to your clients. Ship to him and then he mails. So that's a good one too. Of course, you can go to Food Line or a lot of places and buy, you know, a bunch of gift cards like that. I think in some places if you bulk order them, you can get like a discount on them too, which I mean, if you're going to do $25 gift cards or something like that, if you get a little bit of a discount, that's always nice, right? Let's see, what else? Other thoughts? Janine has done nothing but bundt cakes for Thanksgiving and dropped by for closed clients. She says it can be a lot of work because there's a lot to drive. So, you know, one thing that you guys might want to consider if you wanted to do something like that, incorporating that within something that the team's doing. So saying, hey, I'm going to do my own gift for my clients and invite them to Santa to pick it up, right? Say, Janine, you wanted to do bundt cakes again, you know, say, hey, come pick up your bundt cake and come see Santa at the same time. If you want to do that, something like that. Or you could just have, you don't necessarily have to broadcast it that way, but you could just have a bunch of stuff together and make sure you individually invite all of your folks to our team events and then have something there for them to give them, you know, so you don't have to get out around the county and do that. You know, think about doing it that way. Now, one thing you should do is make sure that you're individually sharing the team stuff that goes out about Santa or any other events that we do. Share the invite that's on Facebook that I sent out. Share the email that I sent out. Make sure that people know about it. Go in and individually invite people on your friends list that, you know, maybe have kids or love Santa, or, you know, that you just consider one of your cheerleaders, like we talked about, to, hey, come to this, come support us, come check out where we are and what we do. And hey, see Santa. I like a picture with Santa. I look like Santa, you know, so come see Santa, bring your kids. It's a lot of fun. especially to see the kids do that. Let's see, Janine also said that her cousin's team in Maryland does a work. Yeah, there's a service that'll do a work for you. There's a ton of things, resources out there, just depending on how much you want to pay, that will do things for you. I'll tell you one thing that I do, and it reminded me because we're at this time of the year, is I've always sent Christmas cards to all of my past clients, and not team Christmas cards, my family Christmas cards. So it comes directly from my family. And, you know, for all of you guys who have been in the system for a while, it's really easy to always, and you guys will get to this point, regardless of what your CRM is or wherever you work or whatever your system is, there should be some way for you to download all of your closed clients with their contact information. Now, maybe you're not doing sellers unless you track where they move to, right? But at least for your buyers, you should have their info so you can send them, you know, a quick Christmas card. I mean, that's really thoughtful. I think a lot of people are getting away from Christmas cards, just like we've gotten away from so many handwritten things. So it means a lot, I think, when I still get folks Christmas cards, because they take the time to think of you. So I'm going to add that as well. Let's see. Brandon also mentioned that he does that too. He also sends a lot of gifts and notes throughout the year. A client I've had 2 deals with that also referred someone else to me, just had a baby, and he sent them flowers. So that's, you know, that's just a really nice thought as well. You know, so I would put for individual agent notes, gifts throughout the year for, you know,
Life events,
milestones, births, etc. You know, just things to think about, big things going on in their lives that are a good reason for you to touch it, to reach out and make, you know, kind of a personal touch. Any other ideas from anybody else that you can think of? Nate had to drop. Guys, anything you can think of here in the office?
You know, one of the thoughts that in seeing the list of the holidays is, you know, I feel like you get to know some clients pretty well. Maybe they're diverse from another country, celebrate
Yeah,
particular holiday.
absolutely.
You know, was it the Canadian New Year was recent, or there was a Canadian holiday, I think, last week.
Okay.
And that came to mind because we were talking about what Charles was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So just, you know, if you get to that point of that knowledge,
yeah,
making that note,
mm-hmm.
whatever it might be.
Yeah, absolutely. Any more, you know, I've had several clients that are from, they've moved back, but a couple of different countries in Africa, and just kind of trying to learn more about, you know, what they celebrate and those things as well, and just being responsive to that, even if it's just sending them a little note that says happy, you know, and just, or including them in ours too. I mean, it can go both ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. Janine said, I invite my clients to do life. Past client who is a friend, used to be a soccer coach and has come to Haley's soccer games. Yeah. And I know Brandon is friends and goes out a lot with a lot of his clients. He's had them over for dinner, which I've done that too, or, you know, gone out to dinner, get to know their families a little bit better, especially when you feel a real good connection with someone. I mean, this is such a great thing about this business. It allows us to build these relationships, you know, with other people, which is really fun, I think, and you should make the most of it. And not only because it's great to know more people, if it helps drive your business and that's a secondary benefit of it, well, great. And it's just like we talk about, you know, with being visible, this is just a higher level of being visible for folks. So make sure that you're really thinking about that. Any other thoughts from anybody else? Thanks for all the great input online. Ashley, what are you doing? You got any ideas?
I mean, I've done like pop buys
You
in
have
my
to type
neighborhood.
it.
Oh,
Well, technology is great, right? I don't remember having this problem before, but thank goodness for chat and helping us work through it. Oh yeah, I love that Brandon does this. He says it's also important to reach out during non-holidays at random. like he'll drive by somebody's house and beep the horn and then text, hey, if you heard that horn beep, it was me, and that's just a fun thing to say, hey, I was thinking of you, I was in the neighborhood. They're probably like, well, I'm glad he didn't stop by, but at least he thought of us, right? So that's kind of good for everybody, right? Ashley said pop buys in her neighborhood. It is a lot of work, and that comes down to, if you're going to do pop buys and drop offs, you have to make sure that you have a solid idea, that you absolutely plan for it, which would be something you would want to make sure you're incorporating into your ideal work daily schedule or ideal weekly schedule and your daily activity. But also, executing it well. You don't want to just do something and, hey, the thought was nice, but you did it really crappily and it looked rushed, and people are like, they just bought a bag of candy and dropped it off and didn't leave a note or anything like that, something like that. When we've done pies before, I printed stickers with the logo and put it on top of the pie, and we bought the pies from Lowe's Foods, or from Publix, I'm sorry, and that went really well because they weren't that expensive. They were like $5 a pie. And then I got the round stickers and ran the logos off and put them on there, and we invited people to pick them up. And then folks who couldn't come by would do a drop off and leave a note for them, something like that. So there's a lot of things to do. What I would encourage you to do is, with the team having something coming up, is it will save you a lot of effort if you incorporate getting your people to come to that, so you don't have to get out and about, at least for this one. And then you incorporate into your schedule and your planning and your ideas how you can do it throughout the year. And again, this is not just for your closed clients. These are for, like we talked about, those people who can be your cheerleaders throughout the year, those other friends of yours who have referred business to you. They might not ever need to use you because they're never going to move, right? But they might be the number one person out there sharing your name in a group on Facebook when they see, hey, I need to sell a house. Well, you need to call Janine because she's my best friend and she's fantastic at what she does. Or, you need to talk to Brandon. We've been friends forever and he's already helped 3 of my other friends, whatever. Again, it all starts with putting yourself out there, and this is just another way to put yourself out there. Any other thoughts? This is something that's really fun and that I think you can get really creative with, and it's a great way to show your personality and have fun with stuff. And also it's something where you can tailor it directly to who you're dropping it off for. Do things that relate to those people. If someone likes baseball, maybe you buy them a couple of tickets to the Bulls game as a drop off or a thank you or something like that. Or if a family loves Star Wars or something like that, get them a gift card for, or any movie. They love a Marvel movie, get them a gift card to a theater when a new movie is coming out that they might like to do something like that. Really anything. Some degenerate gamblers, buy them a bunch of, lottery cards and drop them off and wish them the best, something like that. I'll stop short of saying buy people booze, although I'll do that for closing. I like to do that too. But again, this is kind of thinking outside of closing and the relationship beyond that. So any other thoughts from you guys? All right, well, I'm going to edit this a little bit and incorporate some more ideas, and I'll send out this kind of recap so it's something people can think about and reference, not only for kind of the reason why we do some of these things, but also some ideas to incorporate to and build upon. Brandon said, don't focus on the expense. In the grand scheme of things, $50 is not a lot for people that are routinely creating opportunities for you to make thousands of dollars at a time. And that's a really good idea. And I'm going to copy and paste that literally at the bottom of this, because that's a great idea. You have to think about the return of investment. Just be making smart investments, right? Make sure you're investing in, people that are your cheerleaders who are out there and that they're going to speak up for you. And especially for your past clients, because the data shows that they will recommend you, but they're not going to do it if you don't stay in touch with them. So that's an excellent point, Brandon. I think that's a great high note to end on. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for your participation. Hope you have a great rest of the week. Bye.